Good day, Tamers! European Market Watch. Just have a quick look through the versus Royal Knights as well as some of the previous stuff that I think is quite interesting that you guys want to take a look at before it either sells out or becomes null and void for the format. Shining Greymon Burst Mode has slowly dropped, as you can see with the graph next to me, over the last week or so. There's not really any issues with this. It's just that obviously it does have two other printings, has an alt art and then a rare alt art. Or an alt, as I like to say, if you ever hear me say that. But these have come down fairly well. So if you are looking to play this deck, which it's a good deck, I'm not gonna lie, it's not. Yeah, pick up your playset, and in this case, it's normally two. You can go free if you don't want to do the room route, because if you're playing like a red base for Ultimate Cup, obviously you can't use that, so you want to go free. But most people go 1 and 2. So there's that. Yellow base isn't too terrible if you're wondering why. Next thing we're going to look at here is Balphamon. Rage mode, the SRs in this set do kind of have to hold some value because a lot of the core is rare or less in this stuff. So a lot of your top end has to be just holding some value in your SRs. Whereas Rage mode here, again, not really holding much value. Very similar to the Burst mode we just saw. But for those of you who want to play this deck, it's like the only expensive card, to be fair. So you can probably build this deck for like less than 30. You want a budget deck? A good budget deck. This is pretty good. We're also having a look at Mirage Gal. Mirage Galgam is currently in a good situation where a lot of the stuff that you do need is cheaper. The only issue, and we'll have to look at a second after this, is you do need at least 1 or 2 of the old Mirage Galgamons. Normally people want to run 3 of the old one, or 4 of the old one, and then 1 of the new one or 2 of the new one. I personally like going 3 and 2, and that seems to be the case for a lot of the named cards. So Shine, Mirage, Rave, and then possibly when we get to it in BT14, the Rosemon stuff. But again, you can kind of supplement that now with Bloomlord. Bloomlord's still a very good card. But again, holding sort of a lower price point here, generally less than a price of a pack of cards, which is kind of the issue I find with a lot of Digimon stuff. Fantastic card game to get into if you want to be looking a bit more budget, awful if you don't sell things super early. And then you're just trying to claw back some money. But as I just say, we'll have a quick look at the Mirage Galgamon. In BT11. And as you can see here, the price of these is still going up, 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 and up. Cheapest here currently is 7 from Solacid, and then it's just 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then Mana Vortex holding here at the 80 mark at the very expensive end. But believe me or not, as this only goes back to June, there was a point in time, I think around end of February, early March, where you could pick up a playset of this for less than £1. I told people back then that, hey, pick up all the cheap things you can, like the Mars Mons, the Phoenix Mons, this, and there was the other one, Bagra. Pick up Bagra as well. All those stuff was like super cheap. Everything was under £1. The people who picked this up when it was super cheap, and it was still super cheap for a very long time, did end up making a lot of money. As you can see, people are actually selling this for 8. So if you brought yours to 20p, which they were for a long time, 20p, you're welcome. But no, so you are looking to play this still, and you do need to get yourself access to some of these if you can. Yes, this is probably the most expensive part of the deck right now. As you can see, that the Mirages are super duper cheap. Rosemon, on the other hand, is super duper cheap as well. If you don't want to play the Bloom Hydra Quartz package, you can also play Rosemon, Bloomlord, and Burst Mode package. It's fairly good. It's still just as good. It's a little bit more of a mid-range controller rather than like everything or nothing, which obviously can be a bit of a kick in the legs. If you can though, green's still super cheap to get into. I think Mimi's like the most expensive thing in this, and even then, a lot of people persuaded me not to play Mimi anymore, play Yoshi instead. So grab your Yoshis. They're cheap from the set, the rares, looking at 20p a Yoshi, less than £1, you've got your Tamer set, and go from there. I will give it more testing though and see how I feel, and maybe we'll come back to this as a discussion about the decks. King Drasil has to be some value, right? Luckily for King Drasil, a lot of the stuff in that set is alt-arted, as all the Royal got alt-arts, which is where some of the value from this set has to come from, to a degree. This stuff is being mass opened to try and get hold of the rare cards, which is why a lot of these things are currently getting cheaper. As for instance, Mr. King Drasil here is super duper cheap. You can see, if you can, you need to get your playsets from someone altogether. Postage adds up if you're not in Europe. If you're in the UK or even Ireland, specifically, I don't know why I said Ireland. Maybe that is. As you can see, a lot of people don't send to the UK now, obviously Brexit. But yeah, grab yourself stuff where you can. Again, if you can get yourself play sets, do that. It just saves you more money than you think it will. Because, for instance, if I bought from him, bought two from this guy, I'll probably be looking at over £10 in postage plus the cards. Whereas if I just bought all of them from Ace or Athena, both good sellers, both bought them a few times for and Shark Games, you generally will find that, you know, it might cost you an extra £1 more for the cards, but you're saving like £5 in postage. So look at doing that. Alphamon is the only other S that's really worth any money in this set. That's like the 350 mark. Yeah, unfortunately, this has been opened a lot, and a lot of people who were lucky enough to get into some of the groups that had people who were opening like cases and cases and got their stuff early. People who opened cases generally did make their money on this set because people wanted to get their cards early. Now, I'm not going to complain if I get my stuff early, especially because I want to do testing and stuff, especially if I've been testing it and I want to play things, make sure things are working right. Obviously, legality of cards don't come into effect until Friday just gone. That being said, though, I love me some Alphamon. I want the alt answer to this beautiful bad boy before I start playing the deck. But again, super cheap. Get your play sets. You only normally play 2 of this. You play 2 of the BT 8s, 9s, 2 of the BT 9s, and then 2 of the BT 13s. And that's how you want to play the deck. You have the You Can't Stop Me version, and you have the go, 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 go. Everything's Kung Fu Fighting right now. Deck is fairly good. A lot of people don't give it a lot of credit, but it's still very fast. It's still very powerful. Now that you've got new names again, the level 5s, the deck does run a lot more smoothly than it was running for the last like year. Well, nearly a year. The alt art pre-release cards. So, Crayola Monster over here, the most expensive one currently, sitting at the £6 mark. But again, I don't know if you play a playset of this. I'm not really into the Royal Knights set. Personally, I feel like you would, as it's a draw card. I'd like you would probably with some of the Systemons. That being said, though, yeah, if you want to get this is currently the highest priced pre-release card, just because I think it's one of the few ones that you actually want to have alternated. That is an uncommon in the set. We do have the Metal Groom on Ace that is very quickly coming down in price. You are looking now at around like the £3 to £4 mark. Again, if you can find someone that's selling multiple of these, grab your playsets. Possibly very good in BT15 or EX5, depending on how much cards we do get support for this. Got to remember though, it is a overflow of 4, which means you can bite you in the ass quite quickly. But if you can do it and your opponent swings at 2 memory or less, it goes to your turn. And your opponent doesn't really get too much other than finish that swing off. Other than that though, it's not a bad card. Try and see if you can work it into some purple decks or even some just Guru decks and see how the deck goes itself. Personally, I quite like it. War Greymon, we'll be talking about this card more likely in a video very soon, because the card itself is actually quite interesting and it fits quite nicely into a certain deck that just says, hey, let's slow the game down to my speed. It's a very good control War Greymon. Just because it's an all turns per turn, when a card is removed from a security stack, you may also suspend this Digimon, which means that you get to have blocker up to 3 times in a turn. So you get to block up to 3 times in a turn, so your opponent swings once, you block, they die. Swing again, hit security, whatever happens. You unsuspend. Because you unsuspend, the effect of Metal Greymon X Antibody pops a security on your opponent's side, and then when they go to swing at you again, you suspend to block. Obviously, down to what you want to do on your turn, but you can go back into your turn, not swing with this or swing with this, and if you don't die, when a card's moved from a security deck, you may suspend this, so you suspend and swing again, so you're swinging for 2, and your opponent swings the first time, you unsuspend, pop a security, your opponent's probably down to 0 security now, and they're having a very bad day. The price of this card is fairly good. Now, the only thing that worries me about ST15 and ST16 now, I say worried, is it's probably going to be one of the very few sets that gets ripped open for the other SRs. So there's a very good chance that the Greymon, the Gurumon, the Agumon, and the Gabumon hold a lot of value, as well as I think it's the Tamers that are the other 2 ofs in that deck. They might actually push value up for the first time in any of the sets where actually just buying the decks is cheaper in the long run, but we'll see how that goes in the future. Salamon, this is personally something I'm thinking of looking at right now. Fairly cheap card. Obviously, a lot of it is one-offs, although Mr. Card 22 has a playset here. I did pick up mine for a lot cheaper than this, so I do apologise if this seems a bit disgenuine. Max Rarity Dava stuff. This is your searcher for your deck currently. We don't know what else we get in. Hopefully, we do get level 3 as a searcher, but from the looks of it, the deck is very much a hard play level 5 deck, which is Zodiac. On play for the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card with Beast, Animal, or Sovereign in their traits. Sea animals are not real animals. You heard that first, people. So Divine Beasts, Holy Beasts, Beast is in the name, you can search them. Sovereigns, they're all sovereigns, you can search them. God Beast, you can search Fenlong. This is your search for the deck. Is it good? It's okay. Is it great? It's still good. And then Mahira. Mahira is actually the cheapest of all of the pre-release cards currently, and I don't know why it's so cheap. Probably because it doesn't really have a deck that it works in currently. Guess what it does work in? Zodiac. So, depending on obviously how good the new version of this is in EX5, depends if this is actually good or not. But if you can build a stack, you do have the odd on place and suspend something on your opponents, and then one of your opponents doesn't spend for a turn. But this has a digivolving effect of when you go into Fenlong, instead of it being a 4-cost into a 3-cost, and then, instead of it being like, okay, so you go into your opponent's turn, it stays on your turn, and then Fenlong gets to be a right douchebag. That's kind of it. The only other thing to say is that we can have a quick look at the actual high stuff of this. We actually find the start. There we go. Shine Greymon is here. Earlier in the day, like an hour ago, it was actually a case that Rose was 280, and these were like 220. So it seems that people are pushing down their prices because they just want to fire sell. You got to do what you got to do. You got to make some money back. It's always good. The fact that Raven is like less than 100 is okay, but the fact that Mirage Gauga is less than the other three is weird, since this is very competitive right now. Currently, like Shine and Mirage, like the two most competitive decks, and Rose is following them very shortly behind. Raven is just fun, so I can understand why this would be cheaper, but not the cheapest, which is weird. Gallimon is coming down in price. This was like 60 at the beginning of the weekend. It's obviously coming down to 45. When they get to 30, I'm going to buy my stuff, I'll tell you that now. Omnimon is slowly coming down. This game was just like a £55 card. It's coming down to less than 40. Magnum's coming down past 40. This was 40 for a long time. And you might say, oh, it's only just pre-release weekend, but, hours are long if you're looking at buying things. These slowly come down, although this does have the kind of like staying power that the old Magna has, where the old Magna is still like £30, or was for a long time. I think it's like low 20s now. This Magna is obviously 30. Magna X is like 20. So for max rarity armor, you are paying the price. This is also a 4 of in the Royal Knights as well, because you want to have a blocker at least for a turn. So it is what it is. Shine Alta Art is the most expensive of the burst modes that are the normal alt, not the secondary alts, sticking around the 25, but this is following the fact that the Shine Grey from BT12 and the Marcus are like generally the most expensive cards from that set, besides the additional cards. Gallimon is slowly coming down to 20, which is pretty cool. Alpha is 20, which is pretty cool. King Drasil is also 20, which is pretty cool. These have all come down in price since I started looking at these. These were like 25, 22, 25. Belf was 23. So they are coming down as we're watching it now. So people obviously trying to get rid of these when they can. Onimon was 27 this morning. It's now down to 17. Rosemont was 22 this morning. It's now down to 15. And Cranny was 20 down to 15. And this is about where it was this morning. Jez has gone from 20 down to here. Kentorus has gone from 20 down to here. Donus has gone down. Leopardmon has gone down. These are probably going to go down more and more until we get more for these guys. Lucy support. I look forward to getting some Lucy support, because there's obviously more top end. Or maybe a purple Lucy level 3 to make it the evil angel. But we can see what they do there. Orphos is coming down. Lord Knight's coming down. Raven, I picked up 2 of these for £10 each from Card Market, but they were sitting around the 15 for a little bit. Examon, I expect this to come down a bit more. It's actually okay in its own deck, but it doesn't see a lot of play massively in Royal Knights. It's like a one-of in that deck. Genku, look at the forearm, boys and girls. Look at that. Yeah, give me that. Artwork looks fantastic. I love the artwork for all these, to be fair. But it's coming down slowly, so this will be one of those pickups that you want to pick up probably just as like the alt art for your collection. And then, as we said before, Shining Graham is the most expensive SR, Leopard Mode, and then... no, Leopard Mode is the cheapest one. Right, yeah, Leopard Mode is the cheapest of the alt arts. So, with that being said, guys, thanks for being here. Everything is fairly good. Leopard Mode, you know what you did wrong. But no, everything seems to be within reason. The value is here and there. But again, it's one of those sets where it's going to get ripped open by a lot of people that want the super secrets. And there is some value in between. So, hope you guys are having a great weekend. See you guys soon for some more content. And peace out, goodbye, and have a fantastic rest of your day.